Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Little Likac podcast, episode 74. And this is a proper podcast this afternoon. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Amanda and I'm coming to you from Derby in the United Kingdom. And this is a knitting and crochet podcast. Yes, so it's episode 74. This is a kind of normal, typical, traditional knitting podcast this afternoon. The last two videos that I've put up were not your traditional knitting podcast. What did we have? We had a great British yarn crawl video where you saw me going to lots of different shops and buying things, and the one before that was all about the Buxton yarn crawl. But I'm back and I am kind of back into the swing of things with Little Likac again. So yes, if you want to get in touch with me, my email address is littlelikac@gmail.com. I've got an Etsy shop, Little Likac Yarn on Etsy. I'm on Instagram, etc. I normally try to remember to put links and things like that in the comments box below, though that doesn't always happen. But yes, what have we got today? I have got loads of finished objects to show you, 8 or 9 finished objects, not surprisingly, because it's been about 2 months since I've recorded a proper podcast like this. I've got some whips to show you. I have got other purchases to show you, even beyond what I bought at the yarn show and the yarn crawl. And of course, we also have an update on the Socksy and You Know It make along. First things though, complete honesty post. I have completely forgotten to post the last prize. So if you are waiting for that, I know you did get in touch with me and I'm so sorry. That will get posted out. So just a little reminder, the last couple of months I have been absolutely snowed under with exam marking. That is finished. It finished last weekend, and as I've explained before, when I'm doing that, I find it very difficult to have headspace for anything else. So with doing a full-time teaching job and then coming home, I don't just mark as well, I run a team of examiners as well. I've got a sort of like a senior position, so I'm also helping, supporting, dealing with a team of examiners. So it is pretty full on, and although I don't tend to work past 8 to 9 o'clock in the evening, when I then come off the computer from that, I don't have brain space for anything else. Hence the reason why Little Likac, the actual yarn company, goes pretty quiet in June and July, other than launching the advent. And thank you so much if you have bought the advent and supported me with that. The listing will stay open for a little bit longer, but if you are interested in the Little Likac advent, the information is on Etsy. The theme this year is the colour purple, which basically means it's all shades of purple. And there are 2 options, no, there's lots of options, but there is a 4-week option and there's a 24-day option, and then within that there are options of bases. I won't go into too much detail on that. I don't, if you're interested in my yarn and my yarn shop, etc., please take a look on Etsy. Follow me on Instagram, because I do post more about it on Instagram as well. I try to keep the podcast a little bit separate from that. So yeah, shall we get on? Because I've got so much to show you and do. I'll tell you what we'll do first then, is we will draw a winner for the Socksy and You Know It make along, and that will be coming actually off the May thread. So if you finished something, have I got this right? Yeah, it'll be the May thread, won't it? I'm just wondering if I need to do 2. I definitely need to do May anyway, so we'll do that, and then I'll go back and look through my notes, excuse me, and make sure that we did draw for April as well. I think we did. So I mentioned before as well about cost of shipping overseas, and a couple of people have suggested another way of doing this. So this is what will happen if the winner is somebody I draw from the UK. Then their prize will be this zigzag King Cole zigzag yarn, and if it is from somebody overseas, then they can choose a sock pattern from well, any, what's the word I want, any digital download sock pattern from Ravelry, preferably, because it's easier for me to gift it. It's a bit more tricky for me to gift it if it's not through Ravelry. So any sock pattern design up to a cost of £7.50. And then that way, if you are an overseas winner, then you can have a sock pattern. If you want one of my sock patterns, that's also not a problem at all. I've only got 2 or 3 sock patterns. 3 sock patterns. If you want one of my sock patterns, absolutely fine. Or up to £7.50 through Ravelry. Okay, right. So let's draw the winner. Can you tell it's been a while since I've done this? So there are 60 posts on the thread for the May socks. So I'm going to ask my smart speaker. Okay, 51. Now this was an entry that was emailed to me, so it actually has me as the poster of this on Ravelry, but it is an entry for Dorothy, and that will be through email. So Dorothy, if you send me another email, that pair of socks there are your winning socks for May. So let me get in touch with me, and I will be sending you, I'm fairly sure you're a UK viewer, but I could be wrong. So if you're a UK viewer, I'll be sending you that sock yarn. You can actually, there is another, there was some Drops Fable as well that I was trying to give away as well, so you've got a choice of that one or the other. I should send you a picture of the other one as well. Get in touch with me, Dorothy, and I will get those to you. If you are overseas, but I don't think you are, if you are overseas, then instead you can have a sock pattern. Right, so that is the draw done for, we're halfway through the Socks In You Know It Make Along, which is amazing actually. Are you still taking part? We're still getting about the same sort of number of entries each month, which is fabulous. Down here I have my bag with the rest of my wrapped up yarn. So that's number 8, so that looks interesting, doesn't it? That's number 8 for me, which I won't get to open for another 10 days or so. And I will show you my progress on my July socks, but I think I've still got to show you May and June's socks. So let me show you, let's get started with all the finished objects, shall we? And we will be starting with the finished socks for Socks In You Know It Make Along in May. And that is this pair, ta-da! So this was a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. I've got a feeling that this was Yarndale one, wasn't it? I'm sure this was Barbara, yes. This was Barbara, and then the contrast one is, I want to say Wildflower, something like that. So, yeah, what can I tell you? These are my Socks In You Know It socks. When you last saw them, they were nearly done, because I think the last podcast I recorded was very near the end of May, and I'm fairly sure, I kept that progress keeper in, and I'm fairly sure that was the second sock. I'd only got that much left to do anyway. So yes, those are finished. They are going to go in my lovely box of socks, not to be worn until next year. And I have got, what have I got now then? 6 pairs of socks in there. So these were May, and I will show you June's finished pair shortly as well. But yeah, the colours combinations just gone really, really nicely on this. So I can take that progress keeper off. I can get these folded up and put away in the box of socks, ready for my 12 lovely pairs of socks that I'm going to have next year. I think I've got the box down here somewhere. Yeah, I have actually. Maybe on the next podcast I'll show you a picture then of all the socks so far in the box. Right, so they were May. What else have I got finished? There's a few things here that I've finished knitting, but I haven't actually sewn the ends in on, and this is one of them. So this was the Stitch Sampler Shawl, where I was just trying to use up some Noro Curion yarn that I had. And actually I do really like how this has come out. I think, trying to remember which way up I was doing this, which one I started and finished with, I actually can't remember. I think it was that way up, but I don't know. Anyway, looks like I was halfway last time you saw it. So this is the Stitch Sampler Shawl. I've used, as I say, Noro Curion sock, not sock, I think it's an Aran weight. It needs blocking really, because these stitches kind of need working on. I didn't give Noro Curion a very great review last time. I haven't really changed on that. Some people say it does soften, so it does. I will wash it and block it now if we get better weather. Having said that, it's been very warm the last couple of days. So it would go snuggle around you like that. I think I am just going to put this in my car, and it's just be in the back of the car that if I need a blanket for any reason, or I was saying how sometimes in the winter if I'm wearing a dress on my way to work, it gets a bit, my legs can get a bit cold, I could just literally have a lap blanket in my car. How old does that make me sound? Anyway, the actual pattern was great. It's the Stitch Sampler Shawl, which is a free pattern, and it was quite fun to knit, and I did enjoy doing it, but I need to sew in the ends, wash it, block it, and then put it in my car, and if I don't like it in my car, I'll just go to a charity shop maybe, who knows. So yes, it's finished. Okay, more finished objects to show you. Ah yes, I did a test knit. Only took a couple of days to do, and this test knit was for, I'm going to have to look up the name of the designer, I can't think what her name is. It's one of the ladies who runs the Beanie Boat, which is a canal boat, narrow boat, that travels around, particularly around the Midlands sort of area, and they sell yarn and they sell handmade soap at different places where they go. So let me just find the name of the designer. So Nikki Griffin is the name of the designer, Nikki Griffin, and this was called the Wrong'un Beanie. And the idea was that you took two yarns that you didn't really know what else to do with, two sort of 4-ply fingering weight yarns that perhaps didn't look very nice on their own, didn't really know what to do with, and then you knitted them, held them double. And I don't think, because it's been a while since I finished everything, I tried to sort of like bring everything down to the office, but I don't know that I've got the leftovers for this anywhere nearby. What I've probably made a note on my Ravelry page what I used. I did, yeah. So one was a sock yarn that I had used for a pair of socks earlier in the year. I think the February Socksy Socks. I'll put a picture there. So it was that yarn held double with a Shoppel wool sock yarn that I'd started knitting with one time and it pulled horribly. I really don't like pulling particularly, so I held those together. And then the idea with this, so it was almost like the idea of two wrong sock yarns, or two yarns that seemed wrong held together, and how somehow they would look right. And the idea as well is that it's a reversible beanie, so you can wear it like this, like that. So you could wear it like that, and there you've got sort of like the right side, or you could wear it with the garter, well it's not the garter, the pearl side bump showing. Whew, so warm today, muggy. This is the way you could wear it like that. So that's it with the pearl bumps showing and the rib, or as I say, you could have it that way up with the knit side showing and the rib having like the pearl side showing. That's going to go in my box of gifts that I've kind of got, and don't know who I'll gift it to yet, but it's going to go into my box of gifts. It was knitted in the round. It was a really simple knit, which is why it was something I could do while I was doing marking, because again it was something that I didn't have to focus on. It was, and I think it only took me a couple of days. Let me have a look and see if I've made a note. I usually, yeah, started it on the May the 30th, finished it on June the 1st, so that was a nice quick knit. Oh, I am wearing it there on my Ravelry page. So that was a nice quick knit. It got done over a couple of days. Okay, what else is there? So you will have seen this already actually, so if you've watched the Great British Yarn Crawl video that I did, you will see this already, because I bought the yarn through a lucky dip at one of the shops I went to, and opened up the yarn and wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, then decided to knit a baby cardigan. And I've got quite a few friends having babies at the moment, so I will show this again. The yarn is Bellissima, which is a Stylecraft yarn, and it's kind of like a high twist one, just acrylic. So the pattern I did was this, which was an old pattern that I'd got in my pattern stash from when my girls were little. So the pattern is Serdar 2255, designed for Serdar Snuggly Baby Bamboo, and I did it in this beautiful coral colour. I think the colourway was actually papaya, and I absolutely love the little lacy hem and border. That's the word I want, border. And then I put this really cute little flower button on it. So this is for a friend of mine, not going to say her name in case she watches the podcast. I know three or four people are having babies at the moment. So this one is going to go, this is the second size, which is 6 to 12 months, 18-inch chest. And so the person that this is for, she is due in September. So this will be a nice sort of perhaps spring cardigan for little baby. Isn't it cute? Spring, summer, April, May next year. So very pleased with that. And I think also I decided, because of my mind's, what's the word I want? The way my mind was working while I was doing the exam work, I wanted some relatively quick projects, easy wins, because the marking just seems like it's going on forever. And so wanting that sense of accomplishment, so I've knitted a few baby items, socks, things like that, because they were quick wins, and I could get them finished in a week or so and feel like I'd achieved something. So you will see there's quite a few baby knits and smaller projects. Also, I had set myself the challenge of knitting or crocheting 50 projects this year. And I'd set myself that challenge on Ravelry. I'd set that as a challenge last year as well, and I didn't quite make it. So I don't know if you know, in your project section, if you use Ravelry, in the project section, you can set yourself a challenge. And last year, let's see, I'd set myself a challenge of completing 50 things, and I completed 44. So this year I'm determined to get to 50. And so doing some baby knits and some socks and things will definitely help that, and I'm currently at 28 projects. Okay, so now we go on to the June Socksy socks. These were finished right at the end of June actually. So the this cardigan was finished in the middle of June, June the 16th. And then went a couple of weeks without a finished item, and I think that was when the point was where I was kind of getting desperate to finish some things. But these are the June, the June Socksy socks. Ta-da! Look at these, aren't they gorgeous? So this yarn is West Yorkshire Spinner Signature 4-ply, and I think this one is called, right, so yes, this one is called Wildflower. I think I may have said that this was called Wildflower, but I'm lying. This is called Penny Royal. Just remember that. So that was called Penny Royal, that's Barbara. This is Wildflower, and it's a Winwick Mum design. Oh, I haven't done it yet. Shh. We'll hold them that way. And this colourway is also West Yorkshire Spinners, and it's Amethyst. Again, I think I did a pretty good job of choosing a really nice contrasting colour, and these are just lovely. I do really like them. Funnily enough, when I first started knitting them, I wasn't sure that I liked them because they weren't the solid stripes, and I was like, oh, I don't know about this. But then actually I really do like them, and I love the way they've come out. And they are matchy matchy. I made sure that I matched the actual, what's the word I want? Matched the stripes. Sometimes words just escape me these days. It's quite scary. So yeah, those were my socks for July, and I finished them on the 30th of July, so that was definitely not July, June. And I finished them on the 30th of June, so I was definitely cutting those fine. Hopefully the July socks will be finished before the 31st of July. Okay, so then, told you there's loads of finished objects. Now we have a big project that got finished. So I found that if I was just working on something that was round and round stocking stitch, I could get quite a lot done in the evenings when I wasn't having to think of anything else. And I finished. Can you see the sparkle? Can you see it? I finished my Whitmore sweater. Now it is way too hot for me to put this on now. I had planned to try and do this podcast last weekend, because I did finish marking last weekend. But then last weekend I had to edit the Great British Yarn Show video. And I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. So 2 weeks ago I had planned to... I'd given myself a bit of space, a bit of time in the day. I thought if I edit that video and do it before I do any marking, while my brain is still working and functional. And my husband was had gone to York to collect our daughter, who had finished university, and she needed to bring all of her stuff home. So I was like, I got up early and I was like, right, I'm going to finish the Great British Yarn Crawl. I started editing it and then realised there were bits of video missing, or things that I thought I had filmed that either I hadn't filmed or somehow I deleted them, whatever. So I was like, okay, I need to film some stuff here as well. And I got all set up to film some things, and then I got a phone call from my husband, and he was up in York with my daughter, and he said, we can't fit everything in the car. And so I had to abandon everything and drive up to York, help put stuff in my car as well, and bring Eloise home. So that was like 4 hours gone, and therefore the Yarn Crawl video didn't get edited, which meant it was last weekend when I edited that, which meant I didn't record a podcast last weekend. So all of that was to say that I had planned on wearing this as a finished object when I recorded the podcast. And last weekend I could have done, and 2 weekends ago I could have done, because the weather was really rubbish for July. It was 16 degrees Celsius, which is only about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So I could have worn this jumper at least for half an hour while I filmed a podcast. But this weekend it's much warmer. Yesterday it was about 25, 26 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Heading towards 80 maybe. And because we've not had much in the way of hot weather, it suddenly felt really hot, and it's a real muggy heat. And today the sun has gone in, it's quite overcast, but it's still very muggy. I think it's 23, 24 degrees out there still, and it's very muggy. So there's no way I'm wearing this jumper. Oh, look, I will put some photos in of me posing and prattling around so you can see me wearing it. But you can definitely see the sparkle, can't you? This yarn was just some Aldi cheap acrylic yarn that I bought years ago. I do actually though love this jumper. Gotta be honest, the acrylic is a little bit nasty, but so I think I'd like to make this jumper again in some nicer yarn. Although having said that, I do like it. I'm not sure I love how it fits on me. So I had said as well earlier in the year when I first started this, I wasn't sure about the size, and I don't like the way it sits over my chest at the moment. I have lost weight. Yay. Lost about a stone since I started knitting this, which I'm very pleased about, but I would still like to lose some more. So perhaps as this gets bigger on me, maybe I'll be happier with it. So maybe by Christmas, because that's really it's a winter jumper, isn't it? Especially with the sparkle. So maybe by Christmas it will fit better, because it is designed to be oversized, and it's not really oversized yet, but it will be. It will be by the time I come to wear this in November, December. So yeah, that took about sorry, that was a bit close up, wasn't it? That took about 1,000 meters of DK yarn. I say about because the yarn that I used didn't even actually have on the ball band, it didn't say the meterage, and when I tried to look it up I couldn't find it. So I'm approximating about 1,000 meters on that, and I've got 3 balls of that left, and that is going to go to a charity shop or go to my knit and natter group, as would anybody like this, because I'm not planning on using it. Well, I've kept a part ball for myself that will go into my stash of the leftovers that I used to make worry worms, because, you know, who wouldn't like a blue sparkly worry worm? But yeah, so that's the Whitmore sweater, and I am very pleased with it, and an awful lot of that got knitted, so all the lace work was done really before I was exam marking, so that meant really it was just a case of knitting round and round and round for the body, and then the same for both the sleeves. So that was a really good project to work on, and I need to remember to do that next year. Maybe get something that is knitted in the round, get all the complex any colour work or lace work done, and then just save it for exam marking, where I can just zone out on the actual, not have to focus on the knitting, and just knit round and round and round, and yeah, get a jumper completed. Right, yes, then there's more baby stuff. So I've got a colleague at work expecting a little girl, and again, if you saw the Great British Yarn Crawl video, you will have seen the yarn and the pattern, because I bought that from the shop Nibbles, Needles and Hooks, and the lovely Liz ordered this pattern for me, especially because I saw it online and thought it was beautiful, and she stocks West Yorkshire Spinners, so she ordered that pattern for me, and it has come out absolutely beautifully. So the yarn is Bo Peep Luxury Baby, and the colourway is Flower Fairy, and it's such a gorgeous design. And again, I knitted this in the second size, which again I think is 6 to 12 months. So this baby is also due September, so I thought I'll knit it in the next size. Oh, 3 to 6 months this one is. Yeah, 3 to 6 month size this one. And I thought, oh, that would be lovely over the winter. However, without saying too much, basically it looks like this baby is going to be born quite small, bless her. So now I'm thinking it's going to be a long time till this baby perhaps potentially fits into this. I hope that she does get to wear it, but it might be next winter before she gets to wear it. She might be a year old before she gets to wear it. It used 2.5 skeins. I've got this much left of the wool. So put these buttons on, but I'll show you in a little bit. I have done a second cardigan for this particular baby, so I've done a much smaller one as well, and I will give her both so that she's got this one to grow into in probably 12 months time, and the other one hopefully will fit her when she's much younger. So what was I saying? So yeah, so that is the Matilda matinee cardigan. It's really cute. And then another one that I knitted, another baby cardigan. I've got another friend who's expecting a baby, but she doesn't know what she's having, boy or a girl. So I decided I would knit 2 things for her. One more girly, one more masculine maybe, or unisex, whatever, and then depending on what she has, gift her the appropriate garment. I have only done one of them though, But again, I did it in the second size. I tend to knit baby clothes in the second size, partly because I always feel a lot of people give newborn size things. So this is 3 to 6 months. This was the pattern. This is again an old pattern that I've had probably 20 years. Fairly sure I got this when my girls were babies. Excuse me. One of them is 21, the other one is 19, so potentially bought that about 20 years ago. And I have knitted it in Surdust Snugly. There's a story to the Surdust Snugly that I'll tell you in a minute as well. And this is how it's come out. So it's a sort of creamy yellow colour. In theory, on the ball band it says cream, but it's definitely a very yellowy cream. And 3 little buttons there. Cute little lace pattern. It's really cute actually, very pleased with that. So the pattern is Surdust Snugly 1579. I think you can actually still get this pattern. I think you can still buy it. And this one is knitted flat. In fact, all 3 of the baby cardigans I've shown you are all knitted flat. This one you knit the fronts and the back from the bottom up all as one piece, and then split for your sleeves. Then you knit the sleeves separately and sew them in when it's finished. You knit as well the border at the same time as well, so you don't have to pick up the stitches to knit that at the end. So it's a really lovely pattern, and I went with quite a kind of a neutral colour, a sort of a feminine style, a girl style, but in a neutral colour, neutralish colour. So I'm hoping the mum will like that if she has a girl. If she has a boy, then I've got another pattern that I plan to use, like a cable little jacket, which again I'll probably do maybe in the same colour or similar colours, and then that one may be potentially more suitable if it's a little boy. And I know sometimes people sort of say, oh yeah, we want neutral, etc. And I was kind of a bit like that, but once my children were born, well, I had 2 girls, and I remember dressing my eldest, I was very much like, oh, we're not going to go over the top with pink, you know, we can have a few pink things. And my eldest was wearing a blue dress. It was a dress, and it was blue, and it had flowers on it, and it had, I think, a little bit of lace. And somebody said to me about what a lovely little boy I'd got, and I think all they'd noticed was that she was wearing blue, and I was like, how dare somebody call my little girl a little boy? And after that there was a lot more pink involved. So I know sometimes parents may feel that they're not going to dress their child traditionally girl, boy, etc. And sometimes people stick to that, and that's absolutely fine. I don't have any problem with that. Everything is other people's choice. But anyway, so I think this parent is probably along those lines, that they'll want to be relatively neutral, which is up. So anyway, it's difficult, isn't it? I think when you're gifting for babies, you have to really think about the parents, how well you know, if you do know the parents well, kind of think about, well, how do you think they're going to dress them? And that's why sometimes as well I wait until after baby's born and I can see how they're dressing baby. Okay, and then my own daughter, so it was quite funny as well. So the eldest, we did start to dress her in more pink, and again, toys wise, I was like, I don't want girls' toys particularly, and I don't want tea sets for her, and I don't want, you know, like toy washing machines, things like that. So we bought her very sort of neutral toys, and, well, you know, train sets and all sorts of things like that. She wasn't interested in any of them, was she? Nope. All she played with at nursery, because she didn't have them at home, all she played with at nursery was the baby dolls, the tea sets. Oh. So again, once we knew that's what she wanted to play with, and with, oh, sorry. I can remember going to Toys R Us with her, and she was only 18 months old, and all she pointed to, all she wanted was the pink else's toys. I was like, okay. And then my other daughter was the complete opposite. She did want blue. She did want the cars and the trains and the dinosaurs. So actually, between the two of them, we had a whole array of toys, and they played with them both together, which was quite cute. But it's funny, isn't it? You can have in your mind how you think you're going to bring up your child, or how you're not going to. And actually, maybe that's it. We didn't force those things on either of them. It was just their personalities. But oh, it's quite funny, really, isn't it? All right, okay. And so is that all my finished objects? That is all the finished objects. There was quite a few, wasn't there? Quite a few. So let me talk to you about works in progress. Just looking at a little part, and then we'll talk as well about some extra acquisitions. Okay, so I am going to show these, not necessarily in the order that these have been started, etc., just in the order that I can reach them. So the first one I'm going to show you is the July Socksy and You Know It socks for the make-along. And these are, I deliberately, so although I've got things wrapped up in paper so I don't know what's coming next, I wrapped up 2 yarns that were Christmas colourways, and I wrapped up 2 of them, and I said to my husband, because my husband put the number stickers on, and I said to him, put 7 on one of these and 12 on the other. So one will be knitted during July, Christmas in July, and one will be knitted in December. And I genuinely can't remember what the other one was. So although once I opened this one, and I knew that one of them was this, I can't actually remember what the other Christmas colourway was. So it will still be a surprise in December, because I genuinely can't remember. So this was the Christmas in July socks so far. So, as you can see, very sparkly. Let's hold them the right way up. Very, very sparkly. So as with all my Socksy and You Know It socks, they are knitted 60 stitches on 2.5mm needles, just in vanilla sock pattern. So no actual stitch pattern, lace pattern, anything like that, just plain stocking stitch. 2x2 rib for about 10-12 rows. I'll tell you the colourways as well then. So the super sparkly colourway is Stylecraft Head Over Heels in the colourway Comet. And I got a special pack of 4 Christmas colourways from Stylecraft Head Over Heels. I bought it as a pack. And the second one, the red, was from that pack, and this colourway is Rudolph. If that turns out to be the thumbnail that YouTube choose for me, I'm sticking with it. So yes, oh my god, they are so sparkly. Again, they're a bit similar to the Whitmore. It's sparkly and a little bit scratchy sparkly. I'm going to do a plug here. I do a sock yarn, a sparkly sock yarn for little Likac, and when people touch it at yarn shows at the market, they're always amazed about how soft it is, because it doesn't have that kind of scratchiness that this one does have. But they will be fun for Christmas, won't they? They are most definitely. I mean, they are Christmas in a sock, aren't they? So doing really well, because it's the 20th of July and I am 80% of the way through. Ooh, anything interesting on that? No, sorry. 80% of the way through this sock, so they are definitely going to be finished. But I've got 3 pairs of socks on the needles at the moment. Nitty Natty, an American YouTuber, she always does something called Sock Week every year, and this week currently is Sock Week. And it's made me think that actually I want to finish all 3 pairs of those socks that I've got on the needles now. I want to have all 3 pairs of those finished during Sock Week. So I'm not knitting a pair or a sock, I'm just setting myself a target. I'm not entering giveaways or anything like that for it, but I'm just setting myself that target of finish the 3 pairs of socks I've got on the needles by the end of this week. So for this one, this is the one that I've got the least done on, and as you can see, I'm at 80% of the way through the first sock. So I think it's a good challenge to get those 3 pairs of socks. I'll show you the other 2 pairs in a second. So those are the July socks, and they're looking good. So let me show you the other 2 pairs of socks that I've got on the needles then. So these are the other 2 pairs of socks that I want to get finished this coming week. Sorry, I'm getting loads of messages coming through, but nothing important. They're all just notifications for Instagram and things like that. So the second pair that I want to get finished, you have seen these loads of times because they've been on the go for ages, because they're normally in my car. They're my socks that I take, that are in my car all the time. So if I stop off at Nibbles, Needles and Hooks, which I do quite often, fairly much on a weekly basis these days, I have a cup of coffee or ice cream, bit of cake. These are the socks that I'm usually working on, and the yarn again is a Stylecraft Head Over Heels, and again vanilla socks, but this time these are 64 stitches on 2.25mm needles. Now I think the last time you saw these, by the looks of it, because I've got a progress keeper there, last time you saw these I was just up to here on the first sock, but now I am on the second sock, and you'll see not only are we on the second sock, but we are on the foot of the second sock. So that is looking pretty cool. So again, target is actually to get these finished this week. What have I got planned this week? What have we got happening during the week? I still haven't broken up from school. I've still got a full week of school before anybody wants to suggest that I've nearly broken up. No, I haven't. We had sports day last week, and I did take a camping chair with me and into school, and I sat on sports day. It was a lovely afternoon actually, the weather was really lovely, and I sat at the back of the crowd of students. They used me as a bit of a marker. No, you can't go past Mrs. Hatton. And I had my socks and I was sat there knitting, and because I had another teacher sat next to me and she was watching me because I was knitting, but I was watching what the kids were doing, and she said to me, "You're not even looking at what you're doing." I went, "No, that's why I've got these with me." Because so yes, anyway, so what we've got this week, I may well go to Nibbles, Needles and Hooks on Wednesday. That'll be an hour or so after school. I won't be at knit group. I'm going to Alton Towers though with school this week. So these will go with me to Alton Towers, or at least one of the pairs of socks will, either these or the Christmas and July socks will go to Alton Towers. I'll be able to knit them on the coach. I will do some rides. Potentially I can knit them in the queue, and I will also have to do a stint where I will be sitting in a particular place where any students come and check in with teachers so that we know that they're okay. So I shall have them there. So either these or the Socksy, the Christmas socks, will be with me. So yeah, that gives me quite a few knitting opportunities, doesn't it? So effectively, where are we up to? We're up to here, so we've still got all of that to do on the leg of the second sock. So it's going to be a lot of socks this week. But I would like to get these socks off the needles. That would be 3 projects finished in a week. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? And the third pair of socks I actually started in January. And these are the fiddliest ones. So these are actually started in January as part of the 12 Days of Christmas cast-ons. So they were day number 11, which was about the 2nd or 3rd of January. And they are the Prism socks. And again, we are on the second sock. We are on the second sock. So we have one sock finished. And I've got 2 progress keepers on here. I don't know why. but I think maybe the last time you saw them, maybe I was up to there. So I'll take that progress keeper off and put it on the other one. So we've finished one sock. So this again is the Penny Royal, which you've West Yorkshire Spinners, which you've already seen as the contrast in that. So it's the Penny Royal held with, not held, it's not like the held double, but also then using this self-striping yarn, which was from Sostrine Green that my daughter fell in love with. There's quite a lot, actually, there's going to be quite a lot of that left. So, but they've worked up really nicely. But the reason why these seem to be taking so long, I am doing them, I've adapted the pattern very slightly to 60 stitches on 2.5mm needles, because I thought, again, that would mean they would just knit up that little bit quicker. I am using bamboo needles, which have got quite bent. Be careful because I don't want to break them. And this yarn in particular is just that little bit sticky and fluffy, and it just feels like it catches on those needles quite a lot. So this is where we are on the second sock. And because there's not much of a pattern, they just felt like they've been slower going. And to begin with, I wasn't really enjoying knitting on them, but I really like the finished object or how they're coming out, but I haven't necessarily enjoyed the process. So, but this is where we're up to now on the second sock, and that is partly though because I'm making myself do 30 minutes in the morning. So again, now that I finished exam marking, what I was doing was I was doing 30-40 minutes of exam marking at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now I'm making my breakfast and sitting down doing 30 minutes of sock knitting. And so I'm trying to do 30 minutes every morning and an hour on them every evening, and that has really helped, because actually an hour I don't get fed up with them, or I'm just about getting fed up with them after an hour, and then that's fine, I'll pick something else up instead. And I think it is just that they're just that little bit fiddly, and as I say, this yarn in particular just seems to catch on the needles. But I didn't want to change the needles because I always worry that if I change needles I will change gauge. But look, I've turned the heel, I'm on the gusset now. So again, these will definitely not come to Alton Towers because they definitely take more concentration. But if I do that idea of 30 minutes in the morning, an hour every evening, maybe these could be finished as well by next weekend. So this is the third pair of socks, because again, I'm 3/4 of the way through them. So that is the target. Finish these 3 pairs of socks. I will be so happy if next weekend I've got 3 pairs of socks done. Because did I say I've done 28 projects? That will take me to 31. Oh, and I'll show you another work in progress in a second that I will definitely get finished. I will probably finish that tonight. So that will be 29 projects done. So there we go. I was going to say that's all my whips. It is all my whips, I think, because I've got a new cast on to show you. I suppose actually the socks in, you know, it was a new cast on, wasn't it? And all of those baby garments were new cast ons. Anyway, right. So another project to show you, whether we want to call it a new cast on, whether we want to call it a whip. Another one to show you. So I said about my friend then, the baby, probably going to be a little baby. Aww. So I decided to knit something in a much smaller size. In fact, I've knitted it technically in a preemie size because we think baby is going to be born small. And because I only decided that a couple of days ago or a week ago, and we break up on Friday this coming week, and the mum is a colleague at work, I need to gift it to her before she goes before the end of this term. So I've been working on this really quickly. And what I did was I had a look at my baby patterns to see if I'd got things, well, I knew I'd got some patterns that had preemie size. Thought I'll do a DK one so it'll knit up more quickly, not 4-ply. And then although this has got a little stitch pattern to it, I just haven't used the stitch pattern. So again, just to make it quicker, so I wasn't having to, because I've knitted this before with the stitch pattern. And once you start doing raglan decreases and things like that, you really have to concentrate on where you're putting the stitches. And I thought, I don't need something like that. I need something that I can just knit quickly, and I'm not going to make silly mistakes on, so that I can get it ready to give to her. So this is the pattern design. As I say, I have not done this stitch pattern. It's again a Serdar pattern, Snugly DK 1815, and I have done it though to make it a little bit more interesting. In this one, yeah, again knitted on straight needles, and similar to the design I was saying before, with this one you knitted each sleeve just to the top of the before the shaping, put each sleeve on stitch markers, then you cast on the body and the two fronts together all as one, and then when you got to again time to shape the raglans, you then joined in the sleeves and then knitted it all one piece, all on flat needles. And I did do it on straight needles rather than circulars either, because that's what I'd got to hand. And I decided to do it though in 2 colours to make it a little bit different, to give it some interest even so. And I decided to use this brown as the edging with this pink as the main colour. And I've finished the actual cardigan. I just need to weave in the ends and sew on the buttons. Look, it looks like a doll's cardigan. So this is for the 12-inch chest size. So it's for a small newborn baby, or even potentially premature. It's not the smallest size. There is a size smaller, which I think was a 10-inch chest, but I don't think she's going to be that small. And if she is really, really teeny tiny, well, she'll grow into this one, won't she? So I think it does look nice with the brown. I hope you agree. And have I got them in here? I've got the cutest little pink buttons. No, they must be up in the hat. I've got the cutest little pink buttons that are going to go on here as well. So look, because of the way it's knitted, the only seam to sew up are the 2 sleeves. That won't take very long. And then just got the ends to weave in and buttons to sew on. So I will have that done this evening, so probably by the time I come to edit the podcast I'll be able to put a picture up of the finished item. And I say, it just looks like a little doll's cardigan, doesn't it? Absolutely adorable. And so I will be gifting that. Now I will say colourways on this yarn, but then I am going to talk about all this Serdar Snugly that I'm using and give you a bit of a caveat. So the brown, the colourway is technically, it's called soft brown according to the label, and the pink according to the label is pearly pink. Yeah, pearly pink. Now I say according to the label because there's a story behind this yarn, and I will go into that shortly when we talk about acquisitions. But I will get that cardigan finished this evening. That will be another finished object, but more importantly, that hopefully will be a little cardigan that will fit this little baby when she's born, or shortly after she's born. Right. So then, before we go into more acquisitions, let's have a look at this. Another new cast on. And I think I cast this on last weekend. Excuse me. And this is actually one of my Make 9, and so was the Whitmore. I've not made very good progress on my Make 9, partly because most of them were garments, and once I kind of felt a little bit unhappy about the size that the Whitmore sweater was coming out and the size I was coming out as, I put off starting any more garments, because I was like, but now that I've started to lose a bit of weight, I felt a bit happier. And I decided as well, this is on my Make 9. It is the Everyday Tee I'll put a picture here of the finished, you know, the pattern design. It's called the Everyday Tee by Twin Stitches Design, and it's got a nice lace yoke, a pretty simple, straightforward lace yoke, and then just stocking stitch in the round. And I thought, actually, it's a summer lightweight tee. This would be nice maybe to wear on a holiday, so in which case I need to get started on it. I guess I'm probably not going to work on it this week because I will be, as I said before, focusing on socks. But it is started, and I'm using some yarn that I bought not that long ago. I bought this yarn in May in a shop in Nottingham, and it's actually I think we decided it was an Italian yarn. And I bought 4 balls of this, and I've nearly used the first ball, but I'm nearly at the point of splitting for sleeves, and here it is. Now that's showing more blue on the screen. It is actually more of a greeny blue than that, but I have done, as you can see, the lace on it. And I'm nearly at the point of splitting for sleeves. So the plan with this is, it is short sleeve design anyway, so once I have split the sleeves I will then do the 2 sleeves and keep the sleeves quite short, and then I'll know how much I've got left for the body, so that I can get the body as long as, hopefully as long as I can, because I'm a little bit nervous about the amount of yarn I've got. But it is coming out to gauge, and you can see the lace design. So potentially, unless I get the socks all finished before next weekend, potentially this won't get worked on again now till next weekend. But what have we got? I think I've got 4 or 5 weeks before I go on holiday, so we should be fine. So this yarn is called Rosarios for Merian, and the colourway is 29. It is a fingering weight yarn, 100% wool. Don't think it's superwash, so I think it's one that I want to make sure that I take care with the washing of it. And apologies if I keep saying I try and edit out some of the ums if I can. So that's another new cast on. Right, so let's talk acquisitions. We are nearly at an hour now. So I had been trying very hard this year to use more yarn than I buy, and that was going quite well until the exam marking. And I was talking to a friend of mine who also is an examiner, and we were saying about how, I don't know, we were talking about the effects of it, and I was saying about how I was really struggling to make decisions on things, etc., because I was having to use up so much of my decision making when I'm exam marking. And she said, yeah, I totally get it. Like I was struggling to decide on what to have for dinner, what to have for lunch, what clothes to wear. So I had to do things like, at the beginning of the week, I would decide what I was going to be wearing every day during the week, and kind of put those at the front of my wardrobe. Just little things like that to make my life a little bit easier. Anyway, we said as well how it was difficult to stay on plan sort of diet wise as well, because you feel like you've earned a reward. You've been working long hours and you're tired, and you always kind of give in really easily to temptation. And I feel like that also happened with buying yarn. So would you like to see the consequences of giving in to temptation? And I don't think actually really is that bad. Okay, so Serda, I do get a lot of emails from yarn companies that I've signed up to, subscribed to, lots of newsletters. So Serda sent me an email, not just me personally, but felt like it, saying, would you like 25 balls of Sirdar Snuggly DK for £25? And I said, no, I don't. And then they said, they are seconds quality, but they're perfectly usable, and it's £25 for 25 balls. No, Amanda, you don't need them. And I said no, and I deleted the email. And then a couple of days later, I saw the deal come up again. And that time, I said, yes, please. I would like 25 balls of Sirdar Snuggly. Because I knew actually, and this is where my head said, you've got lots of friends having babies. You need some good quality baby yarn that you know is actually good quality and nice and soft, and the mums can just throw it in the washing machine and not have to worry about ruining it. I went, yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's buy it. Click. Bought it. So this box arrived. Oh, hang on. They said it was seconds. They said some of the yarn might be slightly the wrong colour or the wrong weight or the wrong meterage, but apart from that, you know, there was actually nothing wrong with the yarn itself. So this box of 25 balls of DK arrived, and of course you can see I've already taken some of it out because I've used some of it. But these were the colours that I got. So there were 2 extra balls of the pink, 1 extra ball of the brown, 3 extra balls of the creamy yellow that you can see there. And I was like, amazing. You know, I was like, do you know what? I'm quite happy with this. So this is why I said, although it says soft brown on the colourway label, that wouldn't necessarily match to soft brown usually. And I did look at it and thought it looked a bit thin, but again, I was kind of like, oh, okay, you know, maybe it's going to be more sport weight than DK. We can work on it, work with it. And yeah. And then they sent me another email. So I kept sending me emails about this offer. And I kept saying, yeah, no, it's right, I've bought some, thank you. I've bought some. And then they said, we've still got some packs of 4-ply 25 balls for £25. And so I went, do you know what? 4-ply, I can maybe knit myself a jumper. So let's get 25 balls of the 4-ply as well. And that arrived. Ta-da! 25 balls of the 4-ply arrived. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this is the 4-ply in the colourway Pastel Lemon, and this is the DK in the cream, and they're identical, absolutely identical. But not only are they excuse me, this is supposed to be cream, and that's the pastel yellow, and hardly see any difference. Okay, but again, I mean, I could actually knit myself a sweater, a colourwork sweater in this, because there's so much of it. But when I started knitting with the DK and I checked the gauge, it was so small. I was like, this isn't right. And actually, the DK is pretty much 4-ply. If I hold these, they're exactly the same. So they may have put a 4-ply label on this, but the stuff that they labelled as DK is also pretty much 4-ply. For American viewers, that's fingering weight. So I've actually effectively got 50 balls of 4-ply. So when I made this, I held it double, and it has maybe then come out a tiny bit bigger, maybe ½ an inch bigger overall. And the same with the pink and brown, I've held it double, because all of the yarn, the 25 balls that says it's DK weight, it's not, it's more like 4-ply. And that's okay, because I know it, and I will just hold it double. But yes, I've ended up with 50 balls of Sirdar Snuggly 4-ply. I do have some Sirdar Snuggly 4-ply patterns as well, or, you know, 4-ply baby patterns as well. So, but yeah, I've basically ended up with 50 balls of 4-ply baby yarn. Let's hope more of my friends have babies over the next few weeks, months, couple of years. So that's probably, though, I suppose, the worst of my purchases in respect of just kind of clicking yes, and that really was with those just giving in to the temptation of the constant emails and barrages and me kind of going, yes, I need that. There are a few other purchases. They weren't perhaps quite so I don't want to say unusable, because I will use this, just I don't know, I really didn't need to buy. And obviously then that has just sent the meterage. There's something like 5,000 meters, and well, I put the DK stuff in through as DK. I haven't loaded up the 4-ply stuff yet, but anyway, so that has really messed up my stash in stash out figures, hasn't it? Oh, do you know, I've just remembered another project I've worked on quite a lot, because I was going to say when I get that finished that will be a lot of yards or meters out, but I've not brought it down, so it'll have to wait till next time. Okay, so then we have some other acquisitions. Everything's just falling over now. So there's a yarn shop, a new yarn shop that's opened not very far away from me. It's about 5 or 6 miles away, and it's in Draycott in Derbyshire. And I thought, oh, I'm going to pop in there. They're next door to a cafe, and let's go and have a look at that yarn shop. And I went in, and they had a bargain bin, and you know what I'm like with a bargain bin or a bargain bucket, especially when something is this colour. So they had got 5 balls of this in the bargain bucket. I can't remember how much it was now. £2 a ball maybe. So Stylecraft Special Chunky in this beautiful shade of purple, and that's all it's called, is just purple. And I did get this, although I'm not so sure about it. I don't know. I got this pattern, and there's not enough yarn to do that, but there is enough yarn to do that. But I don't know now whether I like, how much I like that waistcoat or not. I do like. Anyway, but I've got enough to do that if I want to do that pattern. And as I say, well, actually, hang on, I've got the receipt. Does it say on the receipt? No, it's not itemised. But anyway, yeah, so I think it was less than £2 a ball. I think maybe £1.50 a ball. So we got the 5 balls of yarn, paid full price for the pattern, and yeah. So then I got talking to that lovely lady who runs that shop, Sonia, and I told her I was a yarn dyer, and we had a talk. And she is now stocking my yarn. So Little Likac yarn, we are for sale. It's on a trial basis for her and for me. We'll see if it's worth it for both of us. But yeah, so Knitwits in Draycott in Derbyshire, which is kind of between Long Eaton and Derby, is stocking Little Likac yarns, which is exciting. Anyway, while I was in Draycott, there is also a charity shop. And blow me down with a feather, they've got in the charity shop a load of Stylecraft, this time Stylecraft Special Aran, and they've got, I don't know, maybe about 20 balls of this. I didn't buy 20 balls, I bought just 5 balls of it. I think this was £1 a ball. And this is in the colourway Parchment, and I did think this would make quite good neutral baby knitting, so that is why I've got that. I haven't added these in, I don't think, to the stash spreadsheet. Oh, and then also while I was in Knitwits as well, the lovely Sonia, I was looking at the sock yarn, and the lovely Sonia actually gifted me this one. Isn't it funky? And that's not been added in yet. And this is an opal one, Black Dragon Fantasy Island. Look at it, isn't it amazing? And it would knit up like this. I wonder if my husband might like that one. Might knit a pair of socks for him in that. So that's going to go in the box with all the other self-striping sock yarns I've got once I've added it. So that's a lot to add to the pile, isn't it? To the spreadsheet. As I say, I think I'm currently on the spreadsheet at about 3,000 extra. Oh, I think I have put in the 4-ply, so it does like a 4-ply, but I haven't put in that chunky and that Aran and that sock yarn. So that's no more yarn buying for me for quite a while, isn't it? I think so. If you haven't already watched the Great British Yarn Crawl video, do have a look at that. You will see some other yarns I bought. I was pretty restrained though, because I did go to about 5 or 6 shops and I didn't buy yarn at every shop. I bought patterns in some of the shops, buttons in some of the shops, so do take a look. And if you didn't watch the Buxton Wool Show one as well, I did buy some yarn there. Now, I believe all of that has been added into the spreadsheet of shame. There's still 5 months to go. We can get back into a deficit. I mean, it's something like, I've knitted something like 17,000 metres this year. So we can still get back into a deficit, can't we? Can't we? Let's not think about Yarndale that's coming up in September. Because last year I bought a lot at Yarndale. Right, I am going to finish there, my lovely people. I think we have had enough of my wittering. We're well over an hour. It has been really lovely to chat to you all again though. And thank you for all the likes and comments and new subscribers that I've had in the last couple of months when I haven't really been very present. Thank you for your patience. It's always going to be like this all the time on exam marking, which will be at least for the next few years. But I do enjoy the exam marking, and it does help as well with finances, not gonna lie. And I'm changing my role at school in September. I'm actually stepping down from some of the management stuff that I do at school, because I do actually want to spend less time stressing about work. I'd like to spend more time knitting, obviously, no, but also I want to put more time into Little Likac. And yeah, we'll see how things go anyway. But yeah, if you like the content, please give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, share, tell other people about the podcast. Thank you so much for watching. And I will be back in 2 weeks' time. We'll see if I finish all 3 pairs of socks. Keep an eye on my Instagram, because it'll likely be in my stories or on my feed anyway, on Instagram or the Facebook page. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you for watching. Bye.